Hello, my name is Shivani Desai, and my chosen special population is homeless women. Homeless women, along with families, are considered part of the fastest growing segment of the homeless population. Because women of reproductive age constitute the majority of these women, this creates unique health needs which may not be properly addressed due to the social condition in which these women are born, live, and work. The vulnerability of this group owes to various predisposing, enabling, and need characteristics which can determine their ease of access to health care and the quality of care they manage to receive. The exact number of homeless women is difficult to estimate due to the somewhat transient nature of homelessness and inaccurate, crude estimates at the local, state, and national levels. However, within the homeless population, 84% of homeless families are female-headed, and violence against these women was the most likely culprit for their homelessness. About 1 in 4 homeless women became homeless after experiencing violence, usually at the hands of someone they knew. Half of the women have experienced physical violence, and 92% of homeless mothers have experienced physical and/or sexual violence. The World Health Organization Commission on Social Determinants of Health concluded that the social conditions in which people are born, live, and work are the single most important determinant in one's health status. Some examples of these determinants include education, gender, ethnicity, social position, and cultural and societal norms. In our patriarchal society, women are systematically handicapped, even more so if they come from disadvantaged socioeconomic backgrounds. According to the United States Department of Labor, women only receive 78% of the income men do for doing the same job. This disparity is more glaring for Black and Hispanic women. Compounding the issue is the fact that educational, career, and housing opportunities are also limited for women. 53% of homeless mothers do not have a high school diploma. This results in fewer job opportunities, and for jobs that do accept high school dropouts, few pay higher than minimum wage. Women who are poor and/or single mothers generally occupy lower social positions within society. This increases their risk for domestic violence, which in turn drives them to homelessness. As discussed in the textbook, according to the vulnerability framework, vulnerability is determined by a convergence of predisposing, enabling, and need characteristics. Some examples are gender and race for predisposing characteristics, insurance status and homelessness for enabling characteristics, and mental health and chronic illness for need characteristics. For homeless women, their very status as homeless women is a qualifying predisposing and enabling characteristic. Their vulnerability to worse health problems increases as they encompass more characteristics, such as belonging to a minority group, possessing mental health issues such as depression or schizophrenia, and lack of insurance. Homeless women are in a unique position when it comes to certain health issues they may face, such as family planning, pregnancy, genitourinary problems, and sexually transmitted diseases more common in women than in men. Lack of prenatal care, poor nutrition, stress, and exposure to violence can increase risk for pregnancy complications. Pregnancy is often unplanned and the result of victimization, lack of access to contraceptives, uncertain fertility, and desire for intimacy. Pregnancy may also occur due to women using sex for survival, such as in cases of trading sex for food and/or shelter, or prostitution. Homeless women are in great need of female health services such as pap smears, mammograms, and STD testing. Although service providers like Planned Parenthood do exist, lack of insurance and restrictive policies largely obstruct these women from accessing this type of health care. Homelessness increases risk of exposure to acute and chronic illnesses, and an inability to access healthcare services in the event a woman becomes sick can cause more severe problems in the future. Common acute illnesses, such as the cold or flu, that are easily treated or resolved within the general population can cause more severe problems for homeless women. More severe illnesses like tuberculosis are likelier to be more progressed, and screening for TB can be missed in homeless women because many do not live in shelters. For employed women living below the federal poverty line, becoming sick and missing work can mean the difference between having a home and being on the streets. Chronic health problems that can be managed with proper care and medication in the general population are also exacerbated by homelessness. The most common chronic conditions are hypertension, gastrointestinal problems, neurological disorders, arthritis, COPD, and peripheral vascular disease. Homeless mothers report higher levels of stress, depression, antisocial behavior, and destructive coping mechanisms than low-income housed mothers. One of these behaviors is smoking. More than half of both homeless mothers and low-income housed mothers smoke, as opposed to 22.6% of female adults aged 18 or older. Smoking can result in low birth weight babies, which can increase health complications requiring medical attention a homeless mother may not have access to. Stress can also drive homeless women to substance abuse. Rates of substance abuse disorder range from 16% to 67%. Some homeless women with mental disorders also use drugs or alcohol to self-medicate. A case study of 100 homeless women and 100 non-homeless women with schizophrenia found that the homeless women had higher rates of concurrent drug and alcohol abuse. Many homeless women with mental disorders are not receiving the necessary health care. Even though homeless women are less likely to have enough food to eat, they are likelier to eat higher than the recommended amounts of fat. This may be because the food they are able to afford is highly processed and unhealthy. This food also contains fewer vitamins and minerals and is higher in sodium, sugar, and carbohydrates than healthy foods. Eating lower quality food can result in increased risk for chronic diseases such as heart disease, hypertension, and obesity. Malnutrition is another issue faced by homeless women who get less than 50% of their recommended daily intake of calcium, iron, folic acid, magnesium, and zinc. Dental problems such as dental caries, tartar, and gingivitis can also become a problem. Although strides are being made in increasing access to health care, such as the insurance requirement of the Affordable Care Act and government assistance programs, many homeless women are still unable to access primary care services. In a study done by Lewis, Anderson, and Gelberg, 37% of a sample of 974 women were found to have unmet health care needs. Having a regular source of care was deemed more important than lowering the odds of unmet need. A lot more can be done to help homeless women's burdens. Research studies should be more attentive to not only homeless women living in shelters, but be dedicated to identifying women living in the streets. Surveys should also distinguish between women who are homeless mothers and solitary women. Another step to take in helping homeless women is recognizing that the social stigma of being a homeless woman is a massive barrier in seeking care. By accepting these women without judgment of their socioeconomic status, the women themselves may become more receptive to outreach programs designed to help them. Homeless women in the United States are an overlooked special population with specific and unique healthcare needs that are not being met. Women of color are at even greater risk for homelessness, and most women are forced into this life due to violence wrought upon them by someone they know and are trying to escape. This results in a greater risk for acute and chronic illnesses and unintended pregnancies, further endangering their lives. To close out this presentation, we need to ask ourselves some questions. Because a great barrier to homeless women getting the care they need is due to social stigma, many of these women are invisible. This is apparent in the lack of accurate statistics about them. What kinds of changes in the American culture would help lift this stigma and enable homeless women to care for themselves despite lack of a physical shelter? Another obstacle homeless women face is the fact that finding employment is difficult due to a lack of education and viable skills. What types of assistance programs would help educate these women without the financial pressure of post-secondary education? Finally, how could educating and informing homeless women about how to take care of their own health help improve the risk for contracting diseases? These questions are important to consider when creating legislation and programs for homeless women. We need to make their plights more visible before we can help any of them.